She saw him as just a broken man, limping on a crutch, forgotten by the streets of Ibadan. Day after day, she shared her last amala with him, her heart bigger than her small buka. But one morning, he vanished, and her world turned upside down. Who was this stranger? Why did he choose her tiny stall on Ring Road? And what shocking secret had he been hiding beneath his tattered cap? Grab your seat, let's journey into this heart-pounding, soul-stirring tale of kindness, mystery, and a truth that will leave you speechless. In the bustling heart of Ibadan, where Bodija Market's noise blends with the dusty hum of Ohu streets, 26-year-old Adunni ran her small buka under sprawling mango tree on Ring Road. Her stall, a patchwork of zinc sheets and weathered planks, was a magnet for Okada riders, market women, and UI students craving her steaming amala and rich egusi stew. Adunni's wrapper was faded, her slippers cracked, but her smile outshone the Lagos sun. She'd call out to passers-by, her voice cutting through the honks of Danfo buses, beckoning them to her pots of pounded yam and bagiri. Orphaned at 15, Adunni had clawed her way up from hawking pure water to owning her buka. Her tiny room in Agbowo had no electricity, just a kerosene lamp and a thin mattress, but her dreams were grand. One day, I'll own a restaurant so big, governors will queue for my amala, she told her friend Folktale, who sold tomatoes nearby. Folktale would cackle, her hands on her hips. Adunni, your dreams are taller than Marpo Hill. But, chai, your egusi could make an angel leave heaven. Adunni would wink, stirring her pot, her heart set on a future beyond the dusty roadside. Every evening, as the sun dipped behind Marpo Hill, a mysterious figure limped toward her buka. A man, perhaps in his 50s, leaned heavily on a worn crutch, his trousers patched, his shirt stained, and a tattered cap hiding half his face. His right leg, wrapped in a grimy bandage, dragged behind him. Market boys whispered, "See that a lag again, always coming to disturb." Some kids tossed pebbles, jeering, "Cripple, go back to your village." But Adunni never turned away. She named him Baba Laja after he mumbled Laja when she asked his name one humid afternoon. One evening, as Adunni fanned her charcoal stove, Baba Laja appeared, his crutch scraping the gravel. She looked up, her face lighting up. "Good evening, sir. You're back again. I was beginning to think you'd found another buka with better amala," she teased, her voice playful, though her eyes scanned his frail frame with concern. Baba Laja chuckled, a low, gravelly sound, adjusting his cap. "Adunni, do you think I'd abandon the best cook in Ibadan? Your food is the only thing keeping this old body moving." His eyes twinkled, though they stayed half-hidden. Adunni laughed, scooping a generous portion of amala and bagiri onto a plate, adding a piece of arobo meat she'd saved. "Here, sir, eat well. This one is on the house again. You know I can't let you go hungry." She handed him the plate, her fingers brushing his calloused hand. He paused, looking at the food, then at her. "Adunni, why do you do this? Every day, you give me your best, even when your pot is almost empty. Don't you ever think of yourself?" His voice was soft, almost searching. Adunni shrugged, wiping her hands on her wrapper, her smile fading slightly. "If I was the one limping on a crutch, wouldn't I pray for someone to show me kindness? Besides, God sees everything. He'll take care of me." Her words were simple, but they carried a quiet conviction that made Baba Laja lower his head, eating slowly as if savoring more than just the meal. A market woman passing by snorted, "Adunni, you're too soft. Why waste food on this man? He doesn't even have a penny to his name." Adunni turned, her hands on her hips, a playful glint in her eye. "Auntie, if I stop feeding him, who'll test my new recipes? Baba Laja is my official food taster now." The woman laughed, shaking her head, but Baba Laja's lips curved into a faint smile, his eyes still on his plate. One afternoon, as Adunni served pounded yam to a group of students, a gleaming Range Rover screeched to a halt near her buka. A man stepped out, his agbada crisp, his gold chain catching the sunlight. His perfume announced his arrival before his polished shoes hit the ground. "Young lady, 2 plates of amala with egusi, and make it quick," he said, barely glancing at her. Adunni nodded, her hands moving fast. Right away, sir. You want extra meat? I've got some juicy sharky today. She flashed her signature smile, hoping to soften his stern demeanor. He waved a hand dismissively. Just make it fast. I have places to be. As she served him, his eyes landed on Baba Laja, who sat quietly, eating his begiri. The man froze, his brow furrowing. Wait a minute, he said, stepping closer to Baba Laja. Sir, have we met before? Your face, it's familiar. Baba Laja didn't look up, his spoon pausing midair. Many faces look alike in Ibadan, he mumbled, his voice low. The man squinted, unconvinced, but Adunni jumped in, her tone light and corny. Ogre, maybe you saw him in your dreams, eating my amala. It's so good, it haunts people. The students nearby burst out laughing, and the man smirked, shaking his head. He paid, took one last look at Baba Laja, and drove off, leaving Adunni wondering about the strange encounter. Days later, everything shifted. Adunni opened her buka at dawn, expecting Baba Laja's familiar limp. But by noon, he hadn't appeared. Her heart began to race. She approached Folklore, who was arranging tomatoes in neat piles. Good afternoon, Folklore. Have you seen Baba Laja today? He didn't come for his food. Folklore laughed, brushing her hands on her apron. That old man? Maybe he's tired of your amala and found a new buka in Sango. Or maybe he's gone to join a choir in heaven. Her tone was teasing, but Adunni's face fell, her eyes clouding with worry. This isn't a joke, Adunni said softly. He never misses a day, even when it rains. Something's wrong. She walked to an Okada rider parked nearby. Brother, have you seen the man with the crutch? The one who sits by my stall. The rider scratched his head. No, madam. Maybe he's moved to another street. People like that don't stay in one place forever. His words stung, and Adunni's chest tightened. 3 days passed without Baba Laja. Adunni's smile vanished. Her amala burned, her customers grumbled, and she barely ate. At night, in her dark Agbowo room, she sat clutching a spoon she'd given him, her voice barely a whisper. Where are you, Baba Laja? Are you sick? Did something happen? I just want to know you're safe. Her eyes filled with tears, the weight of his absence pressing on her heart. She wasn't just worried, she was scared, a deep, gnawing fear that something terrible had happened. On the 4th day, as Adunni sliced onions, a sleek Toyota Corolla pulled up. A woman in a sharp blazer stepped out, her heels clicking like a metronome. Without a word, she handed Adunni a sealed envelope. Open this alone, she said, her voice firm but not unkind. And don't tell anyone. Before Adunni could respond, the car sped off, leaving a cloud of dust. Adunni's hands shook as she tore open the envelope. Inside was a note. Come to Marpo Hall, 5 p.m. today. Tell no one. A friend. Her heart pounded. Marpo Hall? The historic seat of Ibadan's elite? She clutched the note, her mind racing. Who sent this? What do they want with me? She murmured. She locked her buka early, slipped into her best anchor wrapper, and flagged a tricycle. Marpo Hall, please, she told the driver, her voice trembling. The driver glanced at her through the rearview mirror. Marpo Hall? Are you sure, madam? That place is for big men, not small buka owners like you. His tone was half teasing, but Adunni's grip on the note tightened. Just take me there, she said, her voice steady despite the storm in her chest. At Marpo Hall, the grand colonial arches loomed like giants. A security guard in a starched uniform stopped her. Who are you here to see? Adunni handed him the note, her fingers trembling. He read it, nodded, and said, "Follow me." He led her through marble corridors to a heavy wooden door. "Go in," he said, his voice softening. Adunni took a deep breath, pushed the door open, and froze. Inside, a man sat in a polished wheelchair, not the rickety one she knew. His suit was crisp, his shoes gleamed, and his tattered cap was gone, revealing a neatly shaved head. But those eyes, she'd know them anywhere. Baba Laja. Adunni gasped, her hand flying to her chest. The man smiled, a slow, warm curve of his lips. Not Baba Laja, Adunni. My name is Alhaji Kolawole Adebayo. He stood smoothly from the wheelchair, his movements graceful. Adunni's jaw dropped. You can walk? She stammered, her voice a mix of shock and disbelief. He nodded, chuckling softly. Yes, I can walk. I've been walking for years. But I needed to see the world through broken eyes, to find hearts that are whole. He gestured to a chair. Please, sit. We have much to discuss. Adunni sank into the chair, her mind spinning. Why did you pretend to be a beggar? Why come to my buka every day? Her voice cracked, a mix of confusion and curiosity. Alhaji Kolawole leaned forward, his eyes locking with hers. I'm a businessman, Adunni. I own estates in Lagos, hotels in Abuja, farms in Oyo. But wealth blinds you to truth. People smile when they see money, not when they see a man. I disguise myself to find those rare souls who help without expecting reward. You, Adunni, fed me every day, even when your own pot was empty. You gave me your last amala with a smile. That's why you're here. Adunni's eyes widened. But I didn't know you were rich. I just thought it was right. Her voice trembled, tears welling up. I saw you, sir, not your crutch or your rags. I saw a person. Alhaji Kolawole's face softened, his voice dropping to a tender whisper. And that, Adunni, is why you're special. Your heart is a treasure rarer than all my wealth. He slid a folder across the table. Open it. Adunni opened the folder with shaking hands. Inside were a deed to a property in Bodija, a business license, and a bank statement with her name and 50 million Nigerian nairas. What is this? She whispered, her voice barely audible. Your new life, Alhaji Kolawole said. A restaurant in Bodija, fully equipped. Staff, supplies, everything ready. You'll never struggle again. He paused, his eyes gleaming. But there's more. Follow me. Outside, a convoy of SUVs waited, their black paint gleaming like mirrors. Alhaji Kolawole led her to the first car, a guard opening the door. Come, Adunni. I want to show you something. She hesitated, then climbed in, her heart pounding. The convoy rolled through Ibadan streets, past the chaos of Oyai Market, to a quiet road in Bodija. They stopped at a sleek, glass-fronted building with a sign, Adunni's Kitchen, Taste of Ibadan. Adunni stepped out, her mouth agape. The restaurant was a marvel. Marble floors, chandeliers, a kitchen gleaming with stainless steel. Is this real? She asked, her voice shaking. Is this mine? Alhaji Kolawole nodded, handing her a set of keys. Yours, Adunni. But there's a condition. She froze, her eyes wide. What condition? He smiled faintly. Use this place to feed not just the rich, but the hungry. Start a food bank. Give free meals weekly to those who have nothing. Can you do that? Adunni's tears fell, her voice thick with emotion. Yes, sir. I can do that. It's who I am. I know what it means to have nothing, to pray for just one plate of food. I'll feed them, I promise. She clutched the keys to her chest, her eyes shining with gratitude and resolve. Alhaji Kolawole placed a hand on her shoulder. I knew I chose the right person. Your kindness will light up Ibadan. Months later, Adunni's Kitchen was Ibadan's pride. Governors dined there, students flocked for her pounded yam, and every Friday, her food trucks rolled out, feeding the homeless in Mokola and Sabo. Adunni, now in elegant Ankara, ran her empire with grace, but a quiet ache lingered in her heart. One evening, a boy, no older than 14, limped into her restaurant, his clothes torn, his eyes hollow. He reminded her of Baba Laja, frail, forgotten. "Please, madam, do you have any food?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Adunni knelt beside him, her heart breaking. "Of course, my dear. Come, sit. You'll eat like a king today." She served him a mala and egusi, watching him eat with a hunger that mirrored her own past. "What's your name?" she asked gently. "Femi," he said, his eyes avoiding hers. "I don't have anybody. I'm looking for my sister. She was taken years ago." Adunni's chest tightened. She gave him a job washing dishes, a place to sleep. But one morning, he was gone. A note on the counter read, "Thank you, Auntie. I must find my sister." Adunni searched Ibadan streets, from Dug to Sango, but Femi was gone. Her heart grew heavy, the joy of her success dimmed by his absence. Weeks later, a woman in a sleek iro and buba arrived at Adunni's kitchen. "My name is Ronk Kolawole," she said. "My father, Alhaji Kolawole, is dying. He wants to see you." Adunni's heart sank. She rushed to Lagos, to a sprawling mansion in Ikoyi. Alhaji Kolawole lay frail in bed, his once vibrant eyes dim. "Adunni," he whispered, his voice weak. "I didn't tell you everything. That boy, Femi, he was my grandson. I sent him to test you again, to see if your kindness held. You didn't fail." Adunni's breath caught, tears streaming down her face. "Femi was your grandson? Where is he? I looked for him everywhere." Her voice broke, a mix of anguish and hope. Alhaji Kolawole shook his head, a tear escaping his eye. "He ran away. We can't find him. I'm sorry, Adunni. I wanted you to have everything, but I've given you pain, too." He reached for her hand, his grip weak. "Keep feeding the hungry. Keep being you." Adunni nodded, her sobs quiet but deep. "I'll find him, sir. I won't stop looking." Adunni returned to Ibadan, her restaurant thriving, her food trucks feeding thousands. But Femi's absence haunted her. Every Friday, as she handed out meals in Sabo, she scanned the crowd, hoping to see his face. "One day, Femi, I'll find you," she whispered, her eyes on the horizon. Her kindness had lifted her from Ring Road's dust to Bodija's heights, but it couldn't erase the ache of a boy lost, a boy who reminded her of herself. Yet, as the Ibadan sun set, casting a golden glow over her restaurant, Adunni stood tall. Her heart was heavy, but it was full of purpose, of love, of a promise to keep giving. "Thank you, Alhaji Kolawole," she whispered, looking at the sky. "You saw me, and now I'll see others." This story teaches us a powerful lesson. Kindness, even in the smallest acts, can transform lives, but the heart's deepest wishes may remain unfulfilled. Adunni's generosity lifted her from Ring Road to Bodija, yet her search for Femi reminds us to never stop caring for those who are lost. What did this story teach you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. And guess what? Another captivating folktale is dropping soon. Subscribe to my channel and turn on that notification bell to catch it first. If this story moved you, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. Someone out there needs its message. Thank you for watching, from the bottom of my heart. See you in the next story. Bye.